I tried really, really hard to narrow this list down to just 5 movies. I swear I did. But I failed. Let's face it, I'm going to be spending a ton of time at theaters this year.
Your fate is set and you cannot escape it.
2022 is set to bring a ton of new movies in every genre, continuing both the influx of thoughtful modern horror films and the crazy new universe-hopping, multiverse-hopping Phase 4 of the MCU. So I took my list of a gazillion movies I wanted to see this year, narrowed it down to 10, and then narrowed that down to the top 7, but that's where I draw the line. So let's cover them, but before we do, a quick honorable mention to Scream 2022. That movie would have probably made this list, but it's already been in theaters for weeks at this point, so it can't really be anticipated. Now can it? Diving in with number 7 on this list, Halloween Ends. I'm going to admit it, I wasn't a huge fan of the slasher genre for most of my life. It's still not my favorite subgenre of horror, and I wouldn't rank the Halloween franchise amongst my favorite horror entries or series out there. But I have really enjoyed the direction the modern trilogy has taken overall. It's definitely a unique flavor to the franchise and an interesting example of the requel phenomenon. More than anything else, Halloween Ends makes this list because I'm genuinely really excited to see if they can pull off a thoughtful, or at least interesting, finale to this new take on the franchise. It feels like it could go either way. Number 6, The Black Phone. Now this film looks fascinating. I'm not going to say Blumhouse does no wrong, but they and Scott Derrickson, who's directing this, both have very strong track records. In The Black Phone, we seem to be getting a unique new horror film, or as unique as films can get. Seemingly equal parts serial killer, kidnapping thriller, and supernatural horror/mystery. I'm very interested to see how Scott Derrickson winds the threads of this narrative into a single coherent strand. Number 5, The Batman. When it was first announced that there was going to be yet another actor taking up the cowl in yet another Batman reboot, I was not particularly pleased. Don't get me wrong, I don't have any particular fondness for Ben Affleck's version of the Caped Crusader.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
I just want to see something in the DCEU actually stick in a meaningful way. And with the new Flash movie coming up, that may not be the case. Anywho, each subsequent teaser and trailer for Matt Reeves' new Batman film has gotten me more and more hopeful. Are we finally getting a Batman that does his own detective work? Like, really does his own detective work? Is Paul Dano going to give us a serious, dangerous take on the Riddler, please? And is Robert Pattinson going to finally convince mainstream moviegoers just how much he has grown as an actor? Seriously, he's outstanding. And I can't wait to find out the answers to those questions. Number 4, Nope. Jordan Peele has proven himself to be an absolutely novel and genius horror filmmaker, as well as comedian. Honestly, there's only one reason that Nope isn't automatically in the top 3 of my list, and that's because, well, we don't know anything about it just yet. Not really. Seriously, we've got a poster, a cast list, and a release date. That's it. But that's enough to get me hyped for what I'm sure will be another provocative outing from Jordan Peele. Number 3, Thor: Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi and Chris Hemsworth have transformed Thor from potentially the least relatable and fun of the Avengers
An old man and a fool!
into arguably the funniest and most widely beloved of the OG MCU crew.
I'm still worthy.
And now, not only are we getting another Taika-infused outing for Thor, but we're also getting the return of Natalie Portman as Jane Foster Thor, and Christian Bale is joining the MCU as none other than Gore the God Butcher, which, by the way, is just one of the most badass names of all time. This movie is going to be absolutely crazy. This is a fact. We know this to be true. Hopefully it's also good. Number 2, The Northman. Speaking of Thor, we're continuing the Norse theme with this upcoming Robert Eggers film. The trailer for this film is dark, gritty, violent, and hints at some deeper mysticism, fate, or mystery underlying a premise that is seemingly otherwise just the Viking version of Hamlet. The cast is amazing too, with Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, and of course, Willem frickin' Dafoe, all coming to play in the same sandbox. I fully anticipate the director of The Witch and The Lighthouse to give us another meaty, bizarre, darkly gorgeous, and possibly thought-provoking story to feast our eyes on. Now, before we tackle the #1 film on my list, let me just say thanks for watching this far already. If you're new to Story Arc, hi, I'm Jonathan. Please consider liking and subscribing this video if you've been having fun or just want to stay in the conversation. I've got a ton of new videos coming this year, including more film and TV reviews, video essays, filmmaking advice and learning, and my own original short films, some of which you can already find on the channel if you haven't already. I've also got a big announcement coming later this year, and I'd love to have you along on our upcoming journey. All that said, let's see what movie made the #1 spot for me for 2022. Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I said it really creepily. If you'd asked me 6 months ago to make this exact same list for 2022, Doctor Strange probably would have still been on it, just maybe like number 6 or 7 on the list, maybe even just in the top 10, not the top 7. But after watching Spider-Man No Way Home, Benedict's next turn as the, that was right, most meticulously goateed sorcerer in the MCU suddenly jumped to the top of this list. Frankly, I had been pretty worried about just how well Marvel would be able to balance and juggle a solid, character-driven story with the absolute insanity of multiple timelines and universes. But No Way Home proved that the studio is up to the task, and it gave us a taste of what Doctor Strange could be up against in his next adventure. It's no secret that my 2 favorite types of movies are horror and superhero movies, so giving Sam Raimi the reins to a story that is ostensibly both of these things has me very hyped. The first teaser trailer for the movie is intriguing, and I thoroughly enjoyed WandaVision too. So, all in all, Doctor Strange, in my opinion, has the most potential to be mind-blowing of any movie in 2022. That also means it has the furthest to fall from expectations, unfortunately. I guess we'll see which way it goes when it hits theaters in May. Now, what about you? Do you disagree with my list? Agree with my list? Part of my list? I'd love to hear in the comments below what movies you are most excited for this year and why. And thanks again for watching, film friends. Keep telling your stories, and I'll see you in the next video. Cut.